Old King Cole is a British nursery rhyme first attested in 1708. Though there is much speculation about the identity of King Cole, it is unlikely that he can be identified reliably as any historical figure. It has a Roud Folk Song Index number of 1164. The poem describes a merry king who called for his pipe, bowl, and musicians, with the details varying among versions. Lyrics. The most common modern version of the rhyme is, the song is first attested in William King in his Useful Transactions in Philosophy in 1708-9. King's version has the following lyrics. Identity of King Cole. It is unlikely that the King Cole of the nursery rhyme can be identified with any particular historical person. William King mentions two possibilities: the prince that built Colchester and a 12th century cloth merchant from Reading named Colebrook. Sir Walter Scott thought that Old King Cole was the father of the giant Fym Cole. Cowlhen theory. It is often noted that the name of the legendary Welsh king Cowlhen can be translated Old Cole or Old King Cole. This sometimes leads to speculation that he, or some other Cole in Roman Britain, is the model for Old King Cole of the nursery rhyme. However, there is no documentation of a connection between the 4th century figures and the 18th century nursery rhyme. Further speculation connects Old King Cole and thus Cowlhen to Colchester, but in fact Colchester was not named for Cowlhen, connecting with the musical theme of the nursery rhyme. According to a much later source, Cowlhen supposedly had a daughter who was skilled in music, according to the highly unreliable Geoffrey of Monmouth, writing in the 12th century. Colebrook theory. In the 19th century, William Chappell, an expert on popular music, suggested the possibility that the Old King Cole of nursery rhyme fame was really Old Cole, alias Thomas Colebrook, a supposed 12th century Reading cloth merchant whose story was recounted by Thomas Deloney in his pleasant history of Thomas of Reading, and who was well known as a character in plays of the early 17th century. The name Old Cole had some special meaning in Elizabethan theatre, but it is unclear what it was. Interpretations. Pipe may refer to a smoking pipe or a musical instrument. Modern usage. King Cole is often referenced in popular culture. In music, the United States military has used versions of the traditional rhyme in the form of marching cadences since at least the 1920s up to the present. A modern example begins. The cadence includes verses for ranks from private to general, in the form of a cumulative song. Each verse included a satire at the expense of each rank. Beer, 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 said the privates, was my 3-day pass, said the corporals. Drill, 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 said the sergeant. Who's gonna read my map, said the lower. Who's gonna shine my boots, said the captain. Who's gonna drive my jeep, said the major. Who's gonna mow my lawn, said the colonel. Who's gonna walk my dog, said the general. A version of the cadence can be heard on the 1960 album Belafonte Returns to Carnegie Hall by Harry Belafonte. Another can be found in a 1929 music book, Sound Off. Soldier Songs from Yankee Doodle to Parlez-vous by Edward Arthur Delve. In 1927, Moshe Nadir published a Yiddish adaptation of Old King Cole, Der Rebbe Elimelech. It has since become a popular Yiddish folk song. The progressive rock band Genesis included a version of the traditional rhyme on the song, The Musical Box, from the 1971 album Nursery Crime. Queen paraphrased the rhyme in the song, Great King Rat, on the 1973 self-titled album. A parody is often sung to the tune of The Old Chisholm Trail, and appears in All the Pretty Horses by Cormac McCarthy. The rhyme has, naturally, appeared in children's television. For example, it was sung on the television show Barney and Amp Friends, but with the last few lyrics simplified. It has also been been used repeatedly in Sesame Street, using the fiddlers as a way to illustrate principles of basic addition, and again with William Wegman's dogs on the show. Pop singer Nat King Cole said his nickname was inspired by Old King Cole. The King in Nat Cole's name was usually used in quotation marks during his lifetime, but today it is often seen as though it were part of his name. Cole Alexander of Atlanta punk band Black Lips has also adopted the name and performs solo as Old King Cole Younger, a name also partially derived from Confederate guerrilla and later Old West outlaw Cole Younger. In fiction, The Pickwick Papers by Charles Dickens contains a short tale called The True Legend of Prince Bladud, concerning the founding of the city of Bath, that is read by Pickwick while he is staying in the city. Within this, Dickens describes the famous and renowned Ludwig, King of Britain, comparing him in likeness to the venerable King Cole. In his 1897 anthology Mother Goose in Prose, L. Frank Baum included a story explaining the background to the nursery rhyme. In this version, Cole is a commoner who is selected at random to succeed the King of Watland when the latter dies without heir. James Joyce made reference to the rhyme in Finnegan's Wake. Joyce is also punning on the canonical hours tierce, 2 and 2 in terce, sixth, none, and on Finn McCool and his Fianna in Fiddler's Macmarias. Cole. The Old King Cole theme appeared twice in 1933 cartoons. Walt Disney made a silly symphony cartoon called Old King Cole, in which the character holds a huge party where various nursery rhyme characters are invited. Walter Lantz produced an Oswald cartoon the same year, entitled The Merry Old Soul, which is in reference to the nursery rhyme. Farmer Giles of Ham, by J.R.R. Tolkien, is stated by the author to take place after the time of King Cole, but before King Arthur. The Three Stooges 1948 short film Fiddlers 3 features Larry, Moe and Shempus, musicians in King Cole's court who must stop an evil wizard from stealing the king's daughter. In the Fables comic book, King Cole was the longtime mayor of Fabletown, a secret community of fables or fairy tale characters who were forced into exile in our world by a conqueror in their own alternate reality. He was defeated in an election by Prince Charming and was no longer mayor. He then became ambassador of Fabletown to the Arabian Fables. After deciding to plan war to win back the homelands, he returned to Fabletown, assuming first the post of deputy mayor and then mayor respectively after the resignation of Prince Charming. The gist of the storyline is reprised in the 2013 Fables video game. The Wolf Among Us characters based on Cole have featured in other video games. In Banjo-Tooie, there is a boss opponent named Old King Cole. After King Cole says that he wishes to battle Banjo and Kazooie, Kazooie replies with "I thought you were a merry old soul," further referencing the rhyme. In the online game Adventure Quest Worlds, there is also a non-player character called Old King Cole. In the 2009 animated movie Happily Never After 2, Snow White, Another Bite at the Apple, Old King Cole is amalgamated with the king who was Snow White's father. Paul Reeks wrote a stage pantomime adaptation, also called Old King Cole. It is a farce about the king choosing a queen from among his household staff, intended for school plays. In humor and satire, G.K. Chesterton wrote a poem which presented the nursery rhyme successively in the styles of several poets: Alfred Lord Tennyson, W.B. Yeats, Robert Browning, Walt Whitman, and Algernon Charles Swinburne. Much later, Mad ran a feature similarly postulating classical writers' treatments of fairy tales. The magazine had Edgar Allan Poe tackle Old King Cole, resulting in a cadence similar to that of The Bells. In the 1970s, American stand-up comedian George Carlin offered this alternative. Carlin's intonation of the final line suggested that the pipe and bowl should be interpreted as marijuana references. In political cartoons and similar material, especially in Great Britain, sometimes Old King Cole has been used to symbolize the coal industry.